You want to minimize the unsettledness of being completely surprised by something. And you want to be able to help each other to maybe, if not avoid, at least maybe minimize the slump that comes from when it gets a bit tough. Because, you know, big change, some of the change that you're talking about, especially some of the complex change around very complex issues, I think that we're all grown up enough to know that it's really tough work. It is tough work. And it's really work that's worth our best attention. So I like this exercise, and I always like to start with the no side, because I like to finish with the yes side. It just makes the whole rest of the thing feel more fun. So I'm going to start with the no side, and I'm going to ask if anybody would just stand up and in a big voice just say one thing that your table came up with that you think is an argument for why this may not be possible.
Just too much transience, people move, there's turnover, and it's just hard to keep any momentum going.
Okay. Yep.
The biggest one for us that everyone agreed on was
living out allowance and the transient nature of much of the community.
And the schedules are too busy and we're too tired out.
Time and energy. Right. So you need sectors to be really fully engaged, and you're wondering, is that actually going to happen from industry? Anything else that anyone wants to add to that they talked about at their table, or did that? Yep.
Overwhelming competing priorities. So if, just to explain that, if we don't have enough family doctors, what attention is this going to get? If we are dealing with Highway 63, it's great cause, but there's a lot of great causes.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is what I want to say about these comments that came up. And I can say this even though I've only been in Fort McMurray for a day, but I know that people that are making these comments are from here, they know this place, they're showing up, they're spending all day here. So these are real things. These are real things. Are they insurmountable? I'd ask you to think about that. What I think is absolutely true is it's worth surfacing them, it's worth putting them out on the table, calling them what they are, and thinking together about, so how do we deal with that? How do we deal with that? That's part of our reality. And we can care passionately about this. We can have great plans. We can have these people flying in to share some ideas with us. We can go to many, many meetings and talk about lots of great things and feel like we can do this. And that's absolutely critically important. But I would say that if you don't also consider the realistic structural things often that are in place that can shut down your best ideas and your most committed collaborations, then you haven't actually fully worked out a very holistic plan. So let's hear some of the reasons why you would argue that this is absolutely possible here at this time in this place. Anybody who'd like to start?
Because it's happening now. It's already happening.
It's already happening. You are in the flow.
You guys need to get educated. It's already happening. Google.
Give them a break. People hate it when they get assigned the no side. They've only following instructions. Sometimes people flat out refuse and get up and cross the room. Anybody else?
Probably more than ever, there's a large enough group of passionate, committed, and a unique skill set here in the area that want to see that.
Yeah. So there's skill, and there's vision, and there's commitment, and there's enough people. Not everybody. Doesn't have to be everybody. There's enough people. Yeah.
We said that the political willingness, like from local politicians, to keep this momentum going.
Yeah, there's some political will that's engaging as well. So we talked about industry engaging. We talked about political leaders engaging.
Kind of going along with that, we had community alignment, so buying from industry, government, community members.
Yeah, and that's really important. We can't take that for granted. That's very important. So these are some of the things that I have noticed as well in the very short period of time that I've been here, just in conversations and the people who are showing up in the room and what they're saying when they get here, and in the plans that I can see that have been worked on now for a significant amount of time. There is great potential here. And it doesn't mean that there's not perhaps some challenges also to deal with, but there is great potential here. And one of the things that is sort of encompassed by all these, why are there enough people? Why do you have deep engagement? Why are these things true on the yes argument? And part of it really comes down to a belief that it's possible. A belief that it's possible and some sense of passion and calling around this is the time and we're the people and we think we could make this happen. And I want to return to that at the end. But for now, what I'm going to say is that is absolutely critically important. Any research that we do, any situations that we look at, any cases that we write about, when major change happens, if you don't have that at the beginning, well, you don't go anywhere. But then I also want to say is that it's not enough all on its own. We can want things desperately, we can care deeply. It's not enough all on its own. You've got to keep that, and you've got to have some other things as well. So I want to point out to you some of the things that I have been, that I want to kind of just, all I'm going to share with you today are, nope. What I'm going to share with you today is just some things for you to think about. And I'm going to talk to you about what we at the SIG project and others mean when we talk about social innovation. When we talk about social innovation, I want to talk to you about this idea of what does it mean to take a whole systems approach? Why is that important? And then what do you do if that's important? What does it mean to really be trying to address complex problems and complex solutions? What does a complex environment actually mean for how you act? And this idea of resilience and adaptability. You know, there's tons of stuff on all of this. You may be interested in it, you may not. You can get more information if you want. I'm just going to kind of touch on a couple little things just to give you something to think about that I think you'll find relevant in what you're trying to achieve.